I want to say it's been an honor, and I'm proud to have been chosen to represent the people of Wicomico County for the past, well, soon be 20 years. I said, but I'm really concerned about who would, you know, take my place. I want somebody from the east side. I want somebody with a little, at least a little bit of, you know, knowledge about agriculture, business. It's hard to roll it all up into one. And I said, I'm really concerned. I said, I don't want to leave there, you know, with the door open and not knowing who's going to take over. And Joe had been coming to the meetings. Now, I'm going to date myself here a little bit. I've known Joe's father most of my life. I know his grandfather. I know his great-grandfather. I even knew his great-great-grandfather when I was a little teeny fellow going over to Parker Road. So I knew Joe's background, family background, but I didn't know a lot about Joe. And he kept coming to the council meetings and he kept asking questions. In fact, I think the first time we met, we kind of had a little bit of an adversarial conversation about something, and I told him, I said, Joe, I can't fix that. I said, here's what you need to do. You need to start going to the meetings that you had the concerns about. I said, and I think you can work things out. And he did. And that was impressive because most people, I've had people say, well, if you can't fix it, who can? Well, sometimes council members just can't fix a particular issue. So I asked Joe one day, I said, Joe, what do you think about running for county council? And he, you know, well, I've kind of thought about that. And I said, well, look, I'm not going to run again. I don't want to run again. I said, think about it. He said, well, I need to talk to the wife. That's the number one thing. You got to have that permission from your spouse. You know, you got to have that support. I said, get back with me. So we talked again, and Joe said he would run. So I'm not going to be on the council after December. And I'm going to walk out of there with my head held high. I think that the councils we've served with, I've been honored to serve with some great people. I got Jeff sitting here at the end of the, you know, we get people coming and going on the council, and, you know, it's been a great experience. We've managed to grow our revenues through, unfortunately, some of the revenues grew at first through property taxes, but now we're growing our revenues through income taxes. And income taxes means more businesses, and we've been able to keep property taxes low. And we've actually voted numerous times in the past 20 years to lower property taxes in Wicomico County. We've got a good reserve, which means that we can do some things that we need to do, but it also, the reserve means that when we go to the bond market to borrow money for these schools and for other infrastructure, that we can get a good interest rate. So I'm most proud of that. My wife is happier than I am about getting off the council because she says, you come home and talk about that stuff. She says, I'll be glad to see that you can ease your mind a little bit. And the biggest ease of mind, if we can get Joe elected, will be he'll be there to do the job for me. So thank you all for coming. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, Joe. Yeah.